Imagine getting isekai to another world with your classmates, just to have them abandon you for being a dumbass weakling. But little did they know that by getting blessings from one of the world's divine fruits, you would awaken god-level powers and become even stronger than those ugly dorks. Hi, I'm Zach and welcome to my channel Anitales Recap. Today we'll recap the anime called My Instant Death Ability is So Overpowered. If you like these types of shows and want me to keep bringing such anime recaps every week, leave a like and comment to let me know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as it helps me a lot and keeps me motivated to make more anime recaps. So without further ado, let's start the recap. The story begins with our scrawny, disgusting protagonist named Yogiri, a stupid, pathetic child walking in a corridor filled with corpses and bullets flying in all directions. He walks towards a camera and asks where Asako is, his caretaker. He continues walking towards a room and the door suddenly opens. A woman is wielding a gun as she holds Asako hostage. Asako asks the woman what she wants, but the woman tells her to shut her ugly mouth. But Yogiri happily runs inside the room, happy to find Asako. The woman tells Yogiri to not move, otherwise she will blast Asako's brains out. Asako tells him to run to not get hurt, but in the next second something strange happens. Some waves appear and the woman drops dead to the floor. Asako is confused, but Yogiri simply hugs her and smiles while saying they should return. Suddenly, an older version of Yogiri, which is even uglier than when he was a child, is awoken from his sleep by his busty classmate Tamachika, whose divine fruits will later turn this worthless loser from zero to hero.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He seems to be in a panic and as he opens his eyes and asks who she is, but quickly remembers she's the girl with the weird name but a cute body. He remembers that before taking a nap they were on a class trip and asked if they already arrived. However, Tamachika replies they haven't and tells him to wake up and see what's going on. Yogiri looks around and sees several of his classmates, lifeless in their pools of sauce. He notices that one of them is pierced by something strange and asks what it is. He decides to look outside the bus and notices something wrapping around it. He thinks it could be a giant snake or a lizard. But to figure it out, he grabs a random mic on the floor and throws it against the already clapped guy. Turns out the dead cannot fight you back, but the thing that clapped his ass starts moving. Yogiri returns its attention outside the bus again and realizes the thing is a huge wyvern. The monster flies up and decides to charge at the bus while preparing to breathe fire. Suddenly, the moment to receive his blessings arrives as Tamachika fondles her massive destruction on him, making his virgin brain come hard to awaken his god-level powers.
You serious?
The sensation of a plot-filled girl holding onto his arm changes his mind. He focuses his mind on opening a door and says one word, die. In the next second, the wyvern suddenly collapses onto the floor. Yogiri assures Tamachika that they are now safe, but she's bewildered and demands an explanation. Yogiri, seemingly unfazed, starts playing a video game, prompting Tamachika to get mad, mentioning this was not the time to play games but gives in. After watching him play for a bit, she simply tells him that he's trash in video games and starts giving him tips, but she quickly realizes about their situation and tells him to inappropriateness of the moment. Yogiri, concerned for Tamachika's well-being, inquires about her condition, and she confirms she's feeling better. He urges her to explain how they ended up in their current predicament. Tamachika recounts that their bus was casually traveling at night until it passed through a tunnel and found itself in a strange field.
Seriously, what the f?
Confusion ensued, so she asked her useless friend if the outside was always like that. However, her friend couldn't answer. Suddenly, girl that has bigger cushions than her appears. She introduces herself as Sion and claims to be the granddaughter of the great sage. When their four-eyed teacher got up to complain, the girl, instead of popping his cherries, simply popped his head to silence him. The girl then acted like nothing, telling the kids to calm down and pay attention without doing anything funny. Everyone froze in shock as the girl told them not to annoy her, otherwise everyone would meet the same fate. She starts to show off like a gold digger and explains that her power level is 530,000. But pops up the driver's head, mentioning that it was a joke and they were expected to laugh.
What?
She knows this isn't unfair, but that's how it works in a different world. She then decides to explain the whole thing to the students, revealing she summoned them to find sage candidates, explaining that this world is ruled by sages, and their numbers are scarce. Therefore, she summoned them as a way to get new personnel. She points out her hand forward while casting some magic. Tamachika thought everyone was going to get blasted and closed her eyes. But when she opened her eyes, she saw several students glowing without makeup, including the boys. However, she was one of the few who wasn't glowing. Seon then revealed she installed the Battlesong version in all of the glowing students as if were smartphones. She tells them that now they should be able to see some logos on the screen. Tamachika is confused and asks her friend if she can see anything. Her friend uses her fingers to touch some air, explaining she sees some colorful letters saying status. Seon introduced the gift system, explaining it can only be used in this world and it's called the gift, which everyone must use to try and become sages within a month. Tamachika raises her hand to ask a question. She claims that she isn't glowing like a fairy nor can she see any logos. Seon simply replies that some people are just born to be losers and that she should deal with it. Tamachika gets shocked, especially when Seon reveals that if nobody becomes a sage, they will all become livestock to produce magical energy. Seon then explains their first mission will start in an hour, and they should try not to get wiped out right away as she walks away. Tamachika sits down revealing that she doesn't understand anything, and her lowly friend mentions there are some details regarding their mission on their screen. Turns out their job is to escape from the incoming dragon, but Tamachika doesn't believe something like that exists. However, Yuzaki, one of the guys, tries to act like the leader of this sorry bunch, claiming they should first try to clear the mission and how they all need to work together. But for that, they have to reveal their abilities and strengths along with their weakness. Everyone starts to write their name and stats on pieces of paper, but Tamachika realizes that there are other 4 students, including her, who didn't glow. However, one of them is Yogiri, who's been sleeping as if he never slept before. They all complain about his carefree sleepy time until they notice everyone else stepping outside the bus. They also decide to go outside, but Tamachika stays behind to wake Yogiri up. The delinquent chick tries to convince her to leave him behind, but they suddenly hear 2 guys arguing. Turns out, Yuzaki won't let the 4 of them come with them. The delinquent chick's boyfriend complains, but Yuzaki tells him to shut his ugly hole because his class is the army general. He decides to turn into a douchebag, breaking the bus chairs, and explains that this is the power of a gift when he's just only level 1, making him way stronger than all of them. The girl with immature plots asks Yuzaki that if he's strong, he should protect them. However, Yuzaki replies this is part of his plan. Everyone is confused, and he tells the girl by his side to use her gift. She activates her charm ability and uses it upon them. As Yuzaki is about to walk away, he explains that this skill turns her target into clap toys for monsters, meaning the monsters would want to get freaky with them. But in short, they sensed a dragon nearby around, and by using that skill on them, will make the dragon attack them first while giving the rest a chance to escape. He revealed it was a decision that everyone with gifts made. Tamachika cannot believe that her lowly friend would betray her, but Yuzaki reveals she actually did. But Tamachika thinks that Yuzaki must have forced her. Yuzaki then steps outside and locks the door. They try to open it out when suddenly they hear the dragon's noise outside. Tamachika thinks it must be the dragon when suddenly, something crashes against the bus. The guy freaks out, but when Tamachika notices it is already too late. After listening to the whole thing, a realization hits him that now he has no way to recharge his console in this world.
We don't care.
Tamachika scolds him so he gets up, mentioning that according to Yuzaki it's now safe outside. Tamachika asks Yogiri about earlier, but he replies the dragon just crashed onto the floor and died. She knows it's a lie, but he decides to get out through the window. Upon checking the surroundings, Yogiri notices they can go to the hills, city, or forest. Tamachika then points out that something is flying in the sky. After observing, she realizes it's 3 of their classmates. Yogiri is impressed by her sight at long range and asks if he should kill them. She asks what's wrong with his mind, but Yogiri simply replies they left them behind to die. Tamachika says he shouldn't talk about killing them. Yogiri answers that they could be hostile toward them. She's confused, but the guys start getting closer. Also confused because the dragon was dead. The ugly fatso who no girl would ever want to date complains about why Tamachika is still alive, revealing that he was planning to revive her corpse as a zombie so that he could later go freaky with it. The other guys gossip among themselves and think about how desperate of a virgin he can be, that he wants to get wild with a zombie, calling it weird. After hearing such words, Tamachika realizes they clearly cannot be friends. Suddenly, the guy with a lousy hairstyle casts a huge fireball that barely misses Tamachika. The guys keep talking among themselves how to refine their magic, revealing one of them is a healer, the other a hero, and the last a necromancer. The guy who cast the fireball then tells Tamachika to come to his side without resisting. She's confused about his request, but the three simply reveal they want to spend their fun time with her and want to go dungeon exploring. Tamachika realizes they're only after her body. Yogiri is impressed that she has the guts to say that in that situation. The necromancer guy complains about her and Yogiri being too close, but Yogiri tells him that he's just an ugly simp and should die a virgin. He points at the guy and tells him to die. The other two laugh at him but get shocked when the guy suddenly hugs the floor. They ask what happened and Yogiri replied he ended his suffering for being born a simp. He tells them to not move, but the necromancer tries to check on his friend, so Yogiri orders him to die as well. Now only Fatso remains, and Yogiri says that if he moves, he will die too. Yogiri then starts to explain his ability and tells Fatso to check if the other two are truly dead. Fatso complies and uses his healing ability, mentioning he can cure anything in an instant. However, his friends don't move. Tamachika realizes that Yogiri is the one who killed the dragon, but he simply doesn't want to explain what happened. She gets mad at his words from earlier, but Yogiri explains that Fatso was dumb, so he had to explain in detail, but he didn't know she was even dumber. Fatso complains that Yogiri went too far, but our boy simply tells him that he only did it because they tried to attack him. He then explains that his ability is called instant death to any target. In fact, he doesn't need to tell people to die, he just needs to think about it. Fatso says that's impossible, but Yogiri tells him that he would love to test the theory. Fatso accepts defeat and tries to get close to Yogiri, pretending to be scared. But he's secretly preparing to attack him to strike him. However, Yogiri tells him to stop. Fatso is confused and Yogiri explains that he also has an ability that allows him to know if someone has the intent to kill him or not. And to make it worse, he can even combine the two abilities. In short, he doesn't need to know who's trying to kill him. Fatso gives up in tears and Yogiri asks him why they were acting so cocky just when they received their skills. Fatso informs him that this is the second time the three of them came to this world. They defeated the demon lord and returned to their world. Yogiri asks Tamachika if the three missed any classes, and she replies they didn't. Fatso explains that when they returned, they noticed that only some hours had passed. Yogiri decides to kill him, but Fatso asks Tamachika to help him. Tamachika replies she is only alive because Yogiri saved her, therefore he should deal with it. Fatso calls her cold and pulls out an item, promising that if she puts it on him, it will make him her servant. In short, it's a slave collar, and willingly puts it on himself. He starts to act freaky again while walking toward her, but she tells him to stop, which activates the collar as it starts to strangle him. She then asks if there's a way to stop being his master. Fatso couldn't resist the order, explaining that she can transfer it to another person. She immediately transfers it to Yogiri, who decides not to kill him. Instead, Fatso should head to the forest full of monsters and wait there like a good puppy. But before leaving, Fatso should leave all his items and never tell anyone about him and Tamachika. Fatso obeys the orders, and Tamachika asks if this is okay. Yogiri replies that Fatso was not trustworthy and he could betray them, therefore it's better this way. She then asks if he isn't suspicious that she might turn on him. Yogiri simply replies it is what it is. After all, he's the one who decided to protect her. She blushes, mentioning she doesn't know how to reply, and that they never spoke much before. She asks why he decided to protect her. Yogiri initially replies he doesn't know why, but after Tamachika's insistence, he explains that he was able to awaken his ability after he received blessings from her soft divine fruits. She blushes and gets angry, complaining that all guys have dirty minds. Meanwhile, we see San practicing with her deadly missiles how to knock out a man with her massive destruction.
I'm gonna come. Oh.
Yuzaki comes to report, mentioning that the first mission was cleared with 4 casualties, 2 with no ability, and 2 S ranks. He mentions the S ranks died instantly without warning and thinks it's an instant death magic. However, she returns the possibility and returns to practice again. But that's where the first episode of this anime comes to an end. Thanks for watching, and also do mention in the comment section if there is anything that I should be improving on my channel. See you all in the next recap. Goodbyes until then.